This is the Retro Inc. podcast. Welcome back. Welcome back to Retro Inc. with Jeremy. Hello there.
Hi.
Andy.
Yo.
And myself, Adam. So, guys, it's been a week since our last podcast. We've had a lot of communication on the Facebook page and on Twitter, which is going pretty well, Andy, isn't it?
Yeah, new people every day following us.
Well, that's great news.
Yeah.
So, lots of new people. So,
have you not seen them behind you in the street? Standing outside your house. Yeah.
What a busy week it's been. We've got a lot of little bits of news and views to go through. And one of our usual listeners, Ian, sent me a list of his top 10 films, his top 10 TV shows, and his games. And I thought we could go through those with you guys. And let's start at number 10 in his list. And he listed in no particular order, but I actually think his 10 down to 1 is actually probably where I would like to list these films. So his number 10 film was V for Vendetta. How do you guys rate that movie? And he gave this film 10 out of 10.
I enjoy it. I wouldn't put it in my top 10 films of all time, but V for Vendetta is very enjoyable.
Jeremy?
I've seen it. I don't remember it. I've seen it once. That was it, I think. It was all right. I don't remember disliking it.
It's another film that Alan Moore didn't put his name to it.
Right.
Well, then again, he doesn't put his name to anything, movie-wise. But I just felt the direction of the film was just a little bit poor. It could have looked a little bit more dynamic, but still a great movie for those that want to get into a little bit of Alan Moore stuff. His number 9 film was Fast and the Furious. Guys, your opinion on that film? The first one.
I have never seen a Fast and Furious movie in
Right.
my life.
Okay, Jeremy.
I'm with you on
right.
that one as well.
I'm going to defend him on this, right? Because
I'm not saying they're bad.
No. At their core, they sound like a really terrible thing, and they look cheesy and they look bad. And honestly, they are. But that's not a bad thing, is it? We enjoy films like this, and the whole. You look at the outer layer of the Fast and Furious, and it embodies all of that cheesy action, over the top movies. And I tell you what, they're really good fun. If you can watch number 1's good, number 2, no, number 3, no, and they kind of hit this like, and then I think it was number 4 or 5 they rebooted the franchise, and I think it's Tokyo Drift doesn't even have Paul Walker or Vin Diesel in it. It's it's a completely it's set in that world, but then they're not in it, and they got back on track with sort of 4, 5, 6 and onwards, and they are just balls to the wall fun. And you, Jeremy, I know you would love that because you like your action films anyway. So I would suggest to you start at number 1, watch the other 2 if you can do in the process, but they're really heartfelt movies.
It's a car-based action movie, the first one, isn't it? And I've no interest in cars.
No, but when you get to I think it's number 6 or 7, when you see them parachuting cars out the back of a bomber, like a cargo plane, with parachutes, and they land and they carry on driving. It's no longer a car-based. Yeah, it's no longer a car-based action film. Cars are just a pardon the pun, a vehicle of the movie that pushes it along. The first film was all about street racing, and then it gets to I think it's number 5 with The Rock in it, and it's over the top car chases with rocket launchers and guns. There's one where it's on the ice and they're chasing this missile that's been fired.
And there's a submarine in it. And
yeah,
stuff.
Exactly. And it's just over the top fun. And I know that if you watch them, you would really enjoy them, because then they wouldn't be in your top 10 films of all time. But I kind of understand if someone thinks they are, because we all have our guilty pleasures, and that's exactly what the Fast and Furious
they're
is.
Immensely popular. You can't knock the popularity of them.
Mate, I worked at the cinema, and I tell you what, there was never a night more I dreaded than a new Fast and Furious movie coming out, because that cinema would be filled bottom to top, and it would be manic. as well, because it's an adult movie, it would be all night. It wouldn't just be, you get your 8 o'clock showings busy. We'd be talking your 12 o'clock showings were still full up. So, and I understand it. They're good date movies.
They wouldn't have made 7 of them, would they, if they weren't popular?
8,
That's
mate,
for sure.
more to
Is
come.
it 8?
And then we've got Hobbs and Shaw coming out next year, which is the spin-off with Statham and The Rock in it.
Was number 6 or was it number 7? What was the director who did the last Star Trek movie?
Robert, what's his name? I can't remember. I know James Wan, isn't it, has done.
Yeah, he did the last one. Was it Star Trek Beyond? Yeah. So his number 8 movie is The Matrix.
Yeah,
he gave that 10 out of 10, and it is a 10 out of 10 film as far as I'm concerned.
And you know what, Jeremy, you're shaking your head there. I like number 2 and 3 as well.
My favourite was number 3. I know that's going to rock the boat, but it's all right. I don't mind The Matrix, but I've never got.
Why did the third one? Why did the third one do it for you then? Because by the time I
think probably because it's based in the real world and it's not as silly. I think I don't know. I just it just didn't connect with me. I mean, I like stupid films, so it's probably a bit highbrow for me.
Well,
this is why you need to go watch the Fast and the Furious, mate, because I know full well that you will enjoy them because they are far from highbrow.
Well, talking of silly. His number 7 movie is Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah.
He gives that 10 out of 10 as well. Yeah. Infinity War is his number 6. Now, all 3 of us absolutely love that, and it deserves to be higher on some people's list, but he gives it a number 6.
Well, you know where that is on mine.
Avatar, number 5 in his list. He gives that a 9 out of 10.
I get it.
Right.
What are your thoughts on this forthcoming sequel of 3 films? I think is coming out next, isn't it?
It's too little, too late. I think.
Yeah,
if you'd have done it,
I think boat's gone.
I'll go watch it, but yeah, I think we're probably looking at a soft reboot here.
Yeah,
and the trouble that will lead to is less bums on seats. There'll be less people invested in this property now as a soft reboot. But then, let's be honest, when has James Cameron ever soft rebooted a franchise and it's ever gone right?
Well, there we are. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and Titanic 2 was a bit weird. All that time travel.
Yeah.
And those psychedelic cats from outer space.
His number 4 film, the greatest Batman movie of all time, The Dark Knight.
Yeah, I get it.
Is that the one with Adam West in it? Because that's the best one, isn't it? With
the shark repellent spray.
Yeah.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
There's one movie that Jeremy does not rate, and his number 3 film, which he gives a 9 out of 10, is the fantastic Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Where did we have that on our list?
Andy? It's not that I hate Blade Runner.
In our top 3, didn't we?
It's just too highbrow for you, Jeremy, isn't it?
Yeah. That's it. Where are the mushrooms and the zombies? I don't know.
Yeah. Bless you.
His number 2 movie is Star Wars: A New Hope.
That's all right.
And his number 1 film.
He says sitting there wearing a Jedi robe.
His number 1 film is Alien. There wasn't really any curveballs in there, and he said he has plenty of other films that he remembers strongly.
No curveballs. Fast and Furious, man.
Well,
come on,
that is quite a curveball. I would agree with that.
I get it, but it is a curveball. I mean, if you were to start saying best films of all time, it'd be a long chat before Fast and Furious really come up generally, I think.
But I had this conversation with Steve the other day. Again, he was bestowing the virtues of James Cameron upon me and saying that because it's the Avatar, the highest grossing film of all time, it's therefore the best film of all time. No. And I said, well, by your logic, then The Force Awakens is the 3rd greatest film of all time.
Yeah,
and I'm pretty sure that one of the Fast and Furious is in the top 10 as well, isn't it?
Oh, a lot of them, mate. A lot of them. Well, yeah, I mean, top 10 grossing films, and I'm sure the others are not far behind.
Yeah.
But like I say, I mean, they're not top 10 best movies of all time unless your name's Gal, you've got a girlfriend called Shanice, and you drive a Ford Escort. You know, they're the sort of people, I hate pigeonholing there, and I'm allowed to, but they're the sort of people that will look at that. You know, they support West Ham, and they like to go down to Boozer for a pint in the afternoon. And they're the sort of people that will put...
I don't go for a pint in the afternoon. I just
you know,
support West Ham.
they
I can't
go
help it.
fishing at the weekend, take photos of themselves in their Nicholson tops with their carp, and they're the sort of people that would put Fast and Furious in their top 10. And that's fine for them. But if you're looking at it as a filmmaking point of view, they're far from being in that wheelhouse. But then this is why top 10 is a personal choice, isn't it? This is why you look at his list and go, it's very eclectic. It's a complete mixed bag of movies, and I can see a lot from his personality in there of the things he likes, and you know, it shows different aspects.
Carp fishing.
I don't think Ian probably does carp fishing, and you know, if he's got a girlfriend called Shanice, I'm sorry.
He doesn't do either as a pastime or a girlfriend called that.
I say sorry, not
that
sorry.
we know of.
Because if he has, then I'm right.
Okay,
So,
I think we should literally look at his top 10 TV shows that he loves, because there is some fantastic stuff in here. His number 10 is Man in a High Castle, which was on Amazon Prime. Now, Andy, have you seen Man in a High Castle?
I haven't. I'm annoyed at myself about this because it's Dick, isn't it?
It is. Philip K. Dick's book that's transferred, I think, rather well.
By all accounts, compared to his other properties, it's probably one of the most what's the word I'm looking for? True, yeah, true to its source material, and respectful to its source material. Because I know Blade Runner. I mean, I've read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and Deckard is like a 50, 60-year-old man. He's fat and he smokes a pipe, and you know, he's not Harrison Ford running around in a dirty Mac looking cool as anything. You know, it's they always change, and Minority Report is based on the short story. Watch yourself, all right? It's based on a short story, and it's nothing like the film, but they take those core elements of Philip K. Dick and they kind of make it modern, and it works, and or to most of us it works anyway. But this looks like a quite true adaptation, and Rufus Sewell he's
a class actor.
Fantastic. I fell in love with him watching Dark City, and I've been wanting to watch this, but I don't have Amazon and that Amazon Prime, and that's the only reason why I haven't watched Man in the High Castle yet, to be fair.
His number 9 is a TV show that I had to go and check out because I hadn't heard of it, and it's called Badlands. Does either of you have a
vampire thing, isn't it?
Well, it's not. It wasn't on my radar at all, and I just sort of did a little quick Google of it. Jeremy, heard of Badlands?
Only the fossil hunting area in America.
Right. His number 8 is Marvel's Agents
That's
of
where they
S.H.I.E.L.D.
found you, wasn't it?
Hey.
Yeah, his number 8 is Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which I absolutely adore. Number 7 is Expanse, which was a Netflix series.
I saw some of that. It was all right.
It was all right. It's like a space saga, and it's rather good. His number 6 is Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Now, who watches that?
Boom! Definitely in my top 10, mate. Without doubt, it'd be at high ends as well. That will.
His number 5 is Star Trek Discovery. His number 4 is Babylon 5.
Hey.
Now, do you think that's going to make a comeback?
I hope not, because Babylon 5 is perfection. You don't need anything else. Just
How many
Babylon
series did
5.
we get of that? There was a few of those, wasn't there? 6 series, maybe?
6, 7. I think might have more than that, to be honest.
His number 3 is Alias.
Not seen it.
Neither have I. His number 2 is Battlestar Galactica 2004.
Yeah, it's good, man. It's good.
And his number 1, Game of Thrones.
It's 5 series of Babylon 5. Sorry.
Was it?
Yeah.
Well, he said they were in order of greatness. Well, Game of Thrones, you can't get much greater than that. Okay, now we're going to go on to his gaming, and I think this is going to be rather awesome because his number 5 is Dungeon Master.
Cool, man. That's a good game.
So talk about that. Tell us about it.
Dungeon Master does he give you a platform that he played it on?
I'm imagining these are all PC, mate. Yeah. Politically correct games.
Politically correct games. Well, Dungeon Master, that came out on the Amiga as well, and it was on PC ports. I don't know if you've played. It's a very early 3D role playing game, Dungeon Master. Very simple. You'd walk through. It's hard to explain. I don't know if did you ever play? There was one called. It was on the Amstrad, but basically it was a first-person view, and you'd walk through dungeons, and you'd have to turn left and right, and it was very linear in the fact that you couldn't. It wasn't open world. It was dungeon tunnels, and you'd have your 4 party members. I think you could have, and you'd have an inventory. So we're talking very, very, very basic old role play games, and they were so much fun. You could suit your hero up into different weapons, and I mean, for the time this come out, you didn't have any other systems like this, any other games that had systems like this, and even now they are really fun to play. And I think if you could get, I don't know if Dungeon Master is available on your phone, but it would work perfectly on the phone.
His number 4 is probably one of the greatest computer retro games there's ever been. It's Wing Commander, the Wing Commander series.
I was thinking about that earlier. How mad is that?
What a fantastic game that was.
Did you ever play Wing Commander 3? I think it was.
I can't remember which one I had on what system I would have played.
Wing Commander 3 had Mark Hamill in it.
Did it?
Yeah, and there was a lot of FMV live action scenes. So you would go on to the base, and they'd do some FMV movies with Mark Hamill, and I think it was the Kilrathi, wasn't it? It was the cat people, the bad guys. Very young, handsome-looking Mark Hamill in that movie, in that game. Did you ever see the movie of Wing Commander?
I don't think I did, no.
With Freddie Prinze Jr. and Matthew Lillard.
Oh, wow. Was it really? Fantastic.
Yeah. If you get a chance to, mate, go and watch it, because...
Yeah, I'll check that out.
I think Jeremy's died off the screen there. He's trying to cough quietly. I like it.
He's overwhelmed.
Knock once, Jeremy, if you're alive. Okay.
He's there. He's there.
Yeah, Wing Commander 3, Heart of the Tiger, is a quality game. But if you get a chance, go watch Wing Commander the movie. It's almost, in my eyes, it's like the last of the great 80s cheesy sci-fi movies, even though it was made in the 90s or early 2000s, but well worth a watch, mate.
Number 3 on his list is Elite and Frontier, Elite 2.
Yeah, cool.
Baldur's Gate 1
Nice.
and 2.
Nice.
What systems would those both been played on?
Baldur's Gate, I think they would have been PC, mate.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm not mistaken. Let me just have a quick look here. Just Googling Baldur's Gate. Yeah, PC, mate.
Right.
Developed by BioWare in 1998. So,
1998, my God.
Yeah.
His number 1 game is Civilization, and he said, all and yes, the Z is allowed as it's a US game.
Right.
Now, Civilization, can you give me a little recap on that?
Civ? Well,
Yeah.
it's a world building game, isn't it? It's you create a country and a place, and you take over other ones and battle and survive. And I've never been a Civilization fan, to be honest with you. It's one of the franchises I couldn't get into. I had Revolution on PlayStation 3, I think it was. I just didn't gel with it. It's turn based. I prefer action games and fluid games. I don't like turn based. I don't like racking up my moves and then seeing what they're doing. I like to be able to react to their move rather than have to wait my turn. You know, you can see 3 or 4 of your troops getting mutilated and you can't do anything about it, and it's annoying. So but it's Sid Meier's, isn't it? You can't fault anything that man has ever really put his name on.
Guys, that's a fantastic list, don't you think? There's some great stuff on there.
It is good. Now, I mean, the gaming list especially, I could keep myself amused with that for hours.
Now,
I'd have to Google them all. I've got a clue what any of them are.
All three of us have owned a PlayStation, and 2 of us have owned Microsoft systems. Myself, I've got an Xbox One, I've got a 360 and an Xbox One. So the original Xbox and an Xbox One. Jeremy, you have a 360 and you've also owned a PS1, haven't you? And Andy, you've got a PS4.
Yep.
Now, Jeremy, you got a potential Christmas buy coming up, haven't you?
Yeah.
Now, tell us a little bit about. It's for Freddie, your son.
Yeah, it's for my son Freddie. He obviously from Father Christmas, not for me, because he still believes in Father Christmas, because he's real. He's after. He wants an Xbox One.
He wants an Xbox One. Yeah,
I think that's what he wants. I would, from what I've learned, probably have said he should have had a PS4. But I think the main reason that he wants the Xbox is he knows a lot of other people with Xbox. I mean, Jake's got an Xbox, didn't he?
Yeah. I'd be honest. If this was me sitting there trying to get you. Yeah,
come on, Andy.
Trying to get you to buy something here. Every morsel of my being would say go PlayStation. I mean, if we go through the list of games consoles I've had, it's ridiculous. There isn't one apart from the Xbox One and the Switch that I haven't owned over the years. I've had Saturns, I've had Dreamcasts, I've had PlayStation 1, 2, 3, Xbox 360. I've had them all. I've GameCubes, N64s, Wii's. I've had the lot. My heart falls in the PlayStation camp, not because I'm a PlayStation fanboy. I want an Xbox One, but there is actually nothing on there at the moment that I would personally want. Now, if you're talking 360, there was a plethora more games that I preferred on that to the PlayStation 3.
He's walking into a shop, and he's got the two consoles there. He's going to buy one of those, but he's going to buy 3 games to go with that console.
It's not even about games.
But what games are you going to sell him that are particularly PlayStation oriented games only and aren't on Xbox? Why would you?
Because you're talking. This is potentially for Freddie, right? Then you've got
officially for Freddie.
Officially for Freddie. Right? So you've got to look at it, who it's for. Now, gaming now is a different world to what I have for what I want for gaming. I've got a lot of friends on PlayStation, and I can count on one hand the amount of times I've actually played online with them in the years I've had my PS4. Because to be honest, I'm antisocial. I prefer playing games on my own terms, and whenever I have played online with them, I end up falling asleep. So but you're looking at a kid that's going to be playing online with his friends, and games consoles these days and the way that games are played is online. So every part of me would say get a PlayStation 4 because I think they're better, but he's going to be playing with his friends. He's going to have that easy compatibility. They're just going to be able to jump online and play straight away. There's a lot more draw for someone of Freddie's age, I think, with things like Game Pass as well. There's a lot more deals there. It costs you a lot less in the long run with, you go get him Game Pass as a treat or a present for something. He's got a whole library of games there available to him to play. And you've got things like Fortnite, which is no doubt going to be one of the first things that gets downloaded and thrown onto that system.
It. Yeah.
And you've got to think, if he's playing Fortnite and he's going on PlayStation 4 and there's none of his friends on there, he's going to become bored of that very soon. And then you've also got the issue about who is he making friends with online, because you don't know these people that are going to suddenly be popping up on his friends list. Where if he's playing with his actual friends, there they are. So, I mean, I see from his point of view, I think it's generally, and I see this, I think Xbox is more desirable to younger kids and teenagers, whereas PlayStation starts to fall into the realms of adults. And that's how I see it. There just seems to be that divide there. And yeah, I mean, for Freddie, I'd say Xbox, because I know from the outside looking in, he'll probably get more out of it, especially with friends online.
I totally agree. I think that's a very, very unbiased view, and I think that's a really great recommendation for anybody who's going to be buying a system for their kids, is who are they playing with? Because these days, that is the basis of it, isn't it? Really is.
I mean, I can tell you stories of it.
It's all about online gaming.
Somebody I know, his son's got PlayStation, and so has my friend. They both got one each. But his son logged into his dad's account accidentally one day and was playing, and all of a sudden all his friends requests started coming through, and he said to me, he was on the phone to him going, what are you doing accepting these people? You don't know them. And he, his 11, 12 years old and just thought, oh, they seem nice, and they probably are. They just want to play online with him. But the trouble lies there is if he's playing with his real friends, they don't care about that. They've got their real friends. They come from school. They'll turn it on. They'll meet Jeff or whatever. Do people call their kids Jeff these days? I don't know. They'll meet
His mate Keith.
Yeah.
Matthew.
Who calls a baby Keith? Come on. Have you seen that comedian who says about that? Goes, oh yeah, where's Keith? Oh, he's just upstairs doing the accounts. Yeah, but yeah, I think looking at it from him, he's got his friends there, and that is what is going to draw him to it. Minecraft, Fortnite, and they're cheap games as well, and they're going to keep him amused for years. They are, and yeah, it's a no-brainer, and it is unbiased, right, Adam? Because at the end of the day, I love PlayStation. So.
Fair enough. We're right to stand to them.
Great stuff. Let's get on to some news, shall we? This week, we had another sad passing of a film legend. Nicholas Roeg died aged 90. He's best known for directing films like Performance, Walkabout, The Man Who Fell to Earth, Bad Timing, The Witches, and one of the all-time favourite horror films, Don't Look Now. Any thoughts of any of those movies that are by this great man? Have you seen any of those films?
Yeah, The Witch is great.
It's a fabulous film.
Man Who Fell to Earth is lovely. I really enjoy that film. It's bizarre.
It is very bizarre.
I've done Walkabout. I think that's it.
You're not seen Man Who Fell to Earth with Dave Bowie in it?
Don't get me started because you'll tell me off.
You don't like Bowie?
No.
There we go. Well,
let's move on.
What I have got is some huge breaking news, perhaps. Now, the very strange news came from a political website that somebody sent me, and it was covering the news, talking about Brexit and Boris Johnson. And at the exactly, but you know what was fantastic and was quite strange is at the very end of this article.
Yeah, I know this news. Yeah.
Was Boris Johnson shifted from infrastructure and creative culture, and he started talking about media industries, and he goes on to say, which was the biggest grossing movie last year? Star Wars. And where does George Lucas propose to make the follow-up about Obi-Wan Kenobi? Northern Ireland. But what is the name of the weapon wielded by Obi-Wan? The glowing, throbbing, enigmatic thing, a lightsaber. And where did they first make the lightsaber? Where was the lightsaber born? The lightsaber was first created in my own constituency of Uxbridge and South Ruislip. So take the centric splendour and cinematic expertise of Northern Ireland and that to the sheer raw inventiveness of Uxbridge, and you have the creative genius of the United Kingdom. Johnson finished with his speech with a local reference. Well, do you think, again, this is anything to write home about? Because,
no, mate.
Let's face it.
This is a buffoon, an absolute buffoon, talking about stuff he has no clue about. And he needs to get his head out of his backside. And
as Star Wars fans, this was a rumor to start with, wasn't it? This was a rumor to start with the Obi-Wan.
If Obi-Wan's based on Tatooine, I don't see a lot of similarity between Ireland and Tatooine. Having been there, it's a bit chillier than the planet.
What he's basically saying is that there was some news a little while ago that George Lucas had gone to Ireland to sort of probably check out locations, perhaps, and perhaps look at some studios to work with for perhaps the forthcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi film or trilogy or TV series. And I think he's still grasping that old straw.
I think he's just employed Mike Zero as his PA, and he's just taking it down from the inside now. He's like, right, the Express are getting bored with my nonsense. I'm going to start feeding it to Boris Johnson.
To the listener, Mike Zero is a YouTuber
he'd offloaded all the Star Wars.
Well, it will. There you go. That's what I think.
You know what? I would actually put. Yeah, you're right, Jeremy. I would put more stock in this if he turned around and said Rian Johnson. Because we know Rian Johnson's making these new movies and we don't know what they're about. And we know Benioff and Wise. If he'd have said one of those names, it would have made my ears perk up a little bit more, and I'd gone, oh, okay. But he's saying George Lucas. It's like he's read a news article from 2007 and went, oh, this is
2000. Actually, more like the beginning of this year. Because I think that's when this sort of
I know, but the George Lucas part of it. I mean, the thing is, we've seen George Lucas on set for Han Solo. He didn't do anything. He's just there. I mean, the guy made Star Wars. It's only respectful to get him in now and again to go, do you like what we're doing? It's, what? He's like, oh, I'm busy on my ranch. Like, of course he'll pop over in his private jet and just have a look what's going on. It's not like it's going to take any time out of his busy schedule now, is it? After he sold it for $5 billion. It's ridiculous. Boris Johnson needs to just bugger off. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you, Jeremy. It's going to get me angry. That's why I can't talk politics.
You nearly had to write down a time code, didn't you?
I did, yeah.
We did cut that one out. Well, but on to some more stable news. The games company Rebellion has spent $100 million on a UK film and TV studio. They bought the rights to they bought 2000 AD and Judge Dredd, and the video game company Rebellion, which is going to be moving into the film and TV, has bought this massive, large former print works. I think it's 20,000 square foot. It's going to be converted into a studio space for its highly anticipated Judge Dredd's TV series, Mega City 1. And it's Rogue Trooper film directed by Duncan Jones of Source Code and Moon fame. And both projects feature characters from the legendary comic book series 2000 AD, which Rebellion bought in 2000. As well as servicing Rebellion's budgeting sort of slate of film and TV projects, the studio will also be made into for third parties in a boost for the entertainment industry in Britain, which is great news. It's going to be, the site is in Didcot, about 50 miles west of London, which was previously a printing press for the Daily Mail newspaper. And that's very exciting that this Mega City 1 series is going to be built. But more importantly, I think this Rogue Trooper film, which features a sort of titular blue-skinned, genetically engineered super soldier, is going to be developed in partnership with Duncan Jones and Stuart Finnegan, who are directing and producing respectively. And it's very exciting news for Judge Dredd fans. And I think this is probably going to be, again, another streaming on Netflix or Amazon at some point once this all gets moving on. But fantastic news for that local area and for employment and for the company Rebellion. That's a brave move to spend $100 million on a huge building like that. George R.R. Martin is mad, and he hasn't finished Winds of Winter 2. And he says, I wished I finished it 4 years ago. Well, so do we.
Well, this is what I was saying to you the other week when we were talking about this, is that I think he's got to that point now. He wished he'd finished it because I think he's having trouble because he's preferring to do the TV show. And I think he's just lost all of that gumption and that energy and that want to do it. And he's now sitting there going, I've got to do this because I'm contractually obliged to, but I don't actually want to. And I think he wishes he'd done it by now because he hasn't got a clue what to do.
Well, in this interview, he was asked the question about Fire and Blood, a side book about the history of House of Targaryen, and he went into fans being very upset that it's been over 7 years since the last novel in the cycle, A Dance with Dragons. And he says, I know a lot of people out there are very angry with me for Winds of Winter isn't finished, and I'm mad about myself, said Martin. I wished I'd finished it 4 years ago. I wished it was finished now, but it's not.
He wished he'd finished it 4 years ago when it was actually due out.
Oh, my God. I mean, 7 years since the last book. And he's had Dark Nights of the Soul, where I've pounded my head against the keyboard and said, God, will I ever finish this?
If he can do it a bit harder, that'd be great.
Well, and less pages, perhaps.
I reckon he's going to wait till the TV show comes out.
Well, this is the thing here.
It's going to be a really crap book, isn't it? When you open it up and there's just going to be like 40 pages of mashed keyboard letters just everywhere. Just
And he'll have in the middle of the book photographs from the TV show. He said here as well that the show is going further and further forward, and I'm falling further and further behind. What the hell is happening here? He's going, I've just got to do this. I've got the Fire and Blood copy. It's been a long while since I had a new Westeros book, and nobody knows that as well as I do. I know that just as much as the angriest of my hardcore fans, and I've continued to publish over things. It's not like I've been away for 7 years on a vacation. I've had wildcard books coming out every 6 months, but not like this, one that's entirely my writing. So to finish a book that I'm proud and excited by was emotionally a big lift for me. Well,
Well, all fans have got to think about is the guy's getting on a bit now, right? And he's not in that great a health. It's probably going to be quicker just to wait for somebody to ghostwrite the final book when he finally pops his clogs.
Yeah,
To be honest,
I think so.
I'm not even trying to be, sardonic there. I actually honestly believe we've got more chance of that happening than him finishing this book.
Well, the Game of Thrones prequel series, which stars Naomi Watts, we're going to be getting that at some point in the very near future. And in the same interview, Martin revealed that the Long Night prequel HBO series, which will be set about 5,000 years prior to Game of Thrones, meaning many houses, including the House of Targaryen, won't be present. HBO has notably cast, obviously, Naomi Watts in the lead role for the Long Night, with Poldark star Josh Whitehouse cast in the key role.
Well, there's rumours, isn't there, that she will be the first Targaryen?
Yeah.
That would be Naomi Watts' role in that would be the first Targaryen, which would be cool to see.
Could you think this would have the sort of the long run that Game of Thrones has had? Do you think this particular series could go on for 7 series?
Who knows now, man? Because let's be honest, this year Better Call Saul overtakes Breaking Bad.
Wow.
And yeah, exactly. And I know there's more acclaim for Breaking Bad than there is Better Call Saul. However, it's clearly got more legs. And I don't know these days. I mean, if the money's there and the viewers are there, then yeah, why not? Because let's be honest as well, Game of Thrones has a very finite story to it, doesn't it? There's only so long you can draw out this winter coming and who's going to take over the throne before it becomes passé and bland and monotonous. And with something that we're getting here, they're basically starting 5,000 years ago with no real agenda. They can write as much of this stuff as they want. And that's the difference. It's when you're talking about, say, you do a Harry Potter movie, you've got the story there. So there's only so much you can do. You do in the Game of Thrones, it's a book. There's only so much you can do. Yeah, they're not finished, but there is an ending in place. But when it comes to this, there's nothing. It's just a TV show. They can draw this out. Look at Supernatural. I mean, we're on season 13 or 14 now of that. And if the viewers are there, they'll just keep going. And I'm all cool with that as long as it's good, as long as it's the same quality as Game of Thrones.
Well, one of the major TV shows that are on TV is Walking Dead, and we're going to have a little game now because Jeremy posted something into the Facebook group, which I thought was great fun, and we got a lot of comments on this. So here's the premise: 4 guys go in different directions during a zombie apocalypse. Who do you follow? The first person is Ash from Walking Dead. Ash, what does he have? A sawn-off shotgun?
His boomstick.
Boomstick. Sean from Shaun of the Dead. Cricket bat.
Yeah. And
a quick wit.
Yeah.
And quick wit. We have McCready from The Thing. Flamethrower. And we have Ripley from Alien. So, Andy, you go first. Of those 4.
McCready's out. Right.
He's out.
McCready's out. He didn't deal with anything like a zombie apocalypse. He's got a flamethrower, but he's dead in minutes. He's dead. Sean, as much as I'd love to go with Sean here, I mean, the guy's got a plan. He's got his quick wit, but he's not lasting long. Let's be honest.
He was a bit rubbish, wasn't he? They all died.
Yeah, they all died, except for Sean. And I mean, that was a close call a few times as well.
And let's face it, he threw Purple Rain and didn't do much, did it?
Good man. Right. So it's between Ripley and Ash. And I'm to be honest with you, I'm going with Ash, mate, every time, because that guy fought a literal army of darkness and won. What did Ripley do? She ran around on a spaceship in her underwear for a bit and didn't really kill anything.
Yeah, but I'd follow her for that.
Jeremy,
answer.
So Ash is the guy you're going with, and let's face it, he has killed a lot of zombies.
Yeah, he's killed a lot of zombies. He's got his boomstick. He's got a chainsaw arm. Who else can?
Oh, has he?
Have you not seen Army of Darkness?
No.
Is that the one?
It's in the second. Evil Dead 2. He gets a chainsaw around, didn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, I only watched the first episode of Walking Dead, and I was so scared I switched it off.
Walking Dead. Ash is from Evil Dead, mate.
Evil Dead, I meant to say. Yeah, that's not the film. That's not the thing. I can
Have
watch
you
that.
seen the TV show Ash vs Evil Dead? That's quite fun.
I haven't yet. My brother is obsessed
Really good fun.
with
What
Fresh
about from
Campbell.
Walking Dead? Who's from Walking Dead that would be good to
No
for a
one,
zombie
they're all
apocalypse? Anybody?
useless.
No, nobody there.
Michonne with the swords.
Michonne,
They
okay.
that
Yeah.
you never run out of ammo.
What about
Yeah.
taking someone like Jon Snow? Following him.
My brothers of the Night's Watch. Yeah, no, I'm
He's good with a sword.
he's good with a sword, but he'll end up just trying to bone everything that moves, won't he? That's what he seems to do in Game of Thrones. Just Jon
Jeremy,
Snow just
who are you going to
latches on.
follow there?
I'm going with Ripley. She's got a flamethrower. She's got a pulse rifle with a grenade launcher underneath it.
Are you really willing to take that cat into that situation?
Oh,
Well,
Jonesy
I'd
will
look
be
after
left
the cat.
behind, I think.
I'd look after Jonesy.
Okay, then that's fine.
We'd get into the spaceship and we'd bugger off and leave everyone. Go,
As long as the cat's
See you later.
fine, I'm all cool.
The cat is always going to be looked after.
That's good, mate. All right, okay.
Yeah, I'm going with Ripley as well. As much as I like Sean, I'm not keen on the Evil Dead, let alone Walking Dead. McCready, yeah, but I think that flamethrower is just going to run out of gas, isn't it? It's just, and Ripley's got some pretty decent firepower. I'm going to go Ripley on that one. We got a lot of comments on that post, and then the other post that we were going to have a little chat about was all the doctors. Now I know,
I'm taking a break here.
I know, Andy. It wasn't particularly a Doctor Who wasn't a great sort of TV show for yourself, but I do like a bit of Doctor Who, and I think we've all got our favourite. So, starting with the first one, Jeremy.
Yep.
Now that's let me get
William
that.
Hartnell.
William Hartnell. Yeah.
Yeah.
So how long was his run for?
It's only for a couple of years, wasn't it?
Yeah. Pretty dark, pretty spooky, or was it sort of family friendly?
I think Doctor Who's always been a little bit on the scary side. I mean, mentality of the public has changed. What was scary in the 60s wouldn't be remotely scary now, and things that scared me about Tom Baker, you watch back now and you go, really, you're scared of that?
How would he sort of rate on the scale of Doctors? Is he up there with the best, do you think, being the first one?
I was never a massive William Hartnell fan. Obviously I've only seen a few episodes of his. I liked David Bradley's interpretation of him.
Yeah,
that was very good. The first one I ever saw that had the first Doctor in wasn't even William Hartnell. It was Doctor and the Five Doctors, and obviously Hartnell died by then, so to get someone else in.
So the second Doctor who was the second Doctor?
Patrick Troughton.
Patrick Troughton. Now hasn't he got a famous son?
No.
No.
Oh, he has got a vaguely famous son, but you're thinking of Sean Pertwee.
Who's John Pertwee's father? Now, John Pertwee's probably the first Doctor that I ever saw. The second Doctor, how does he rate on your scale of the Doctors?
He was such a departure from William Hartnell. He was kind of a bit of a clown and a bit silly, and very much like Columbo. I think that the bad guys underestimated him because he seemed a bit bumbling, but he was obviously the Doctor, very clever and always won.
John Pertwee?
John Pertwee was the first Doctor that I saw, and he was a real departure. He was flamboyant and more of an action star. He did the Venusian karate and all these different things, and a lot of his stories were based on Earth, where Unit really came into. A lot of stories based around Unit and things invading Earth, and
yes,
I liked it. And got some dinner there. Look.
Tom Baker, the one and only Tom Baker, with probably one of the greatest voices of TV. Now he was a fantastic Doctor Who, in my opinion.
He was. I mean, he was the doctor that launched Doctor Who in America. Up until that point, it had never really been anything in America. You know, Tom Baker was the kind of guiding light, the one that Americans warmed to most of all. And I think most people, when they think of, you've got kind of two eras of the Doctor. You've got the originals and then you've got the modern ones. I think if people think of a Doctor of the original lot, they'll think of Tom Baker.
Yes. The first two Doctors were quite black and white in their dress as well. And then John Pertwee went to the sort of velvet jacket of the 70s.
Well, they were literally black and white. That's the problem.
Yes,
wasn't it?
that's right, yeah. And then Tom Baker was known for the hat and the scarf.
And Jelly Babies.
Yes. And then we had Peter Davidson with the jolly sportsman cricket and
celery.
Now, the celery. And what was that little posy that he had in his buttonhole?
Celery.
It was celery, was it?
I thought that was a veterinary license, wasn't it?
No.
So how did you rate that incarnation of the Doctor?
I really liked him.
He was softer, wasn't he?
Yeah, Earthshock was one of my favourite episodes, both in the Peter Davison era when you've got the Five Doctors and Earthshock. I really enjoyed both of them. And he lost Adric, one of the. Oh, come, I'm doing a retro podcast. Of course, I'm a nerd.
You're a retro podcast. Oh God, bloody hell!
The next Doctor,
Colin Baker.
Yes. Now I see Colin Baker a lot at Comic Cons, and he's not the figure of a man that he once was, but certainly.
Well, it was 30 odd years ago.
A lovely chap. How did you rate him?
Obviously. He was my least favourite. I say obviously because most people don't like him, but apparently in the audio book, brilliant.
The next incarnation of the Doctor was Sylvester McCoy.
I liked Sylvester McCoy.
He had a little bit of that Peter Davison look about him as well, didn't he, with the jacket and the hats
and I think that half of the problem with Colin Baker is they went overboard with his costume. He just looked like a fool. And he just looked stupid. Sylvester McCoy was fun. He was a very angry little Doctor. I liked that bit about him.
Now, the next Doctor was one of many brothers. A.
McGann.
Yes, A. McGann.
Yeah,
and how did he fare up? He was only in one episode, wasn't
he? Yeah, they did an Americanized TV movie where Eric Roberts was the master.
Excuse me. Is this? Huh? I think I've seen this. This might be the only thing Doctor I've seen. Is there something to do with London, New Year's Eve, and a clock?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, it was crap.
That's why you don't like Doctor Who, because that's the one you've watched.
Oh dear.
That was dreadful. And
I did actually watch one with Eccleston in it, and I like him, and I didn't like that either.
Well, Eccleston was the next incarnation. Now, I kind of liked him. He was a bit frantic and a bit moody, and he wore a black leather jacket, and he had probably one of the best assistant. How did he fare up for you?
I liked Eccleston. Yeah, I mean, I think when they relaunched Doctor Who, I was purist to an eye. It's not going to be the same, and I didn't watch Eccleston until. Well, no, I didn't watch any Eccleston. I watched the first David Tennant one, and I was like, "Oh, that's brilliant!" And I had to go back and watch the Eccleston one, which I really enjoyed. I like Eccleston. He's good. He's not my favourite, the new one, but he's good.
Yeah, he's got a good assistant. There's many a night I've spent googling Billie Piper.
She was quite beautiful, wasn't she? What a cracking actress she is. Mm-hmm. We then go on to David Tennant. I think this is most people's favourite Doctor, isn't it?
Of the new one, Jay, kind of quintessential new Doctor. I like David Tennant.
What do you think? Why do you think that is? I mean, again, those that have been following Doctor Who for a long time, and including yourself, those that I've always asked, who is your favourite Doctor? He comes up as their top one, followed by Tom Baker. So why do you think that is?
Because people are wrong.
Okay.
I think he brought a light-heartedness. The stories were very good then as well. The stories were well written, and he was just a bit of fun. And Tennant's a really good actor. A lot of it is to do with the fact that he's a very good actor. And they brought a lot more of the older villains back, which I've dragged in. People like myself, people who'd watched it before, and they go, "Oh, Cybermen are back, and Daleks are back, and Silurians, and other people that Andy won't have a clue who I'm talking about."
The next actor and
Zygons.
incarnation of Doctor Who is rumoured and now confirmed to be in episode 9, the next Star Wars film.
Yep,
that's Matt Smith. Yeah.
My brother. What's my brother doing in episode 9?
Again, I like Matt Smith. He bought again. He was a bit.
It's all right, mate. He's my
unhinged.
brother. He's a douchebag. I'll admit it myself. Right? Don't worry.
He was a bit unhinged. He acted a clown, but he had this massive temper every now and again. When people did bad things to aliens, he would get very angry, which I liked.
I liked that too. I know I really like Matt Smith. He's personally my favourite Doctor, I think.
I love Matt Smith. I don't know if you watched The Crown. You was waiting for a sarcastic comment from me, then, wasn't you, Adam? I saw your face switch, and I was actually coming out with something sensible. He's really good in The Crown, the Netflix show about the Queen and that. Yeah, you like him in that, Prince Philip. Yeah.
Peter Capaldi.
Sorry.
Jeremy.
Peter Capaldi is my favourite of the new Doctors.
And why is that? Why is that?
Well, I watched when Peter Capaldi took over. I went to the cinema to watch it, and his first episode was brilliant, and he was the theme running. He was very angry, and I liked that in him. But he was also fine and way as well. He was just very good. I really liked him. And so far, Jodie Whittaker's been great fun. I'm liking her.
Wasn't it with Peter Capaldi that he was in World War Z and his credited name was Who Doctor?
Well, didn't know that.
Yeah, because he's in World War Z. Sorry, I'll get a bit closer to Mike now. I'm actually back on. Sorry, I'm sitting there eating gingerbread toffee popcorn.
Woken you up there, have we?
Yeah, he's in World War Z and he plays World Health Organization Doctor. And his credited name is Who Doctor, and it was a year later that he got, 2 years later, that he got the part of Doctor Who. So there's a bit of foreshadowing for you.
Well, he was also in the episode Fires of Pompeii, which was good. There you go. It's a David Tennant one.
It's me.
So you were eating some what? Caramel popcorn? Did you say gingerbread popcorn?
This is Mackey's of Scotland gingerbread flavoured toffee coated popcorn, and it's well loved.
Jeremy, you had a little dessert earlier. We both caught you munching away on what was it? What was your retro dessert?
I had steamed syrup pudding with custard.
That's very old school, isn't it? That's very old school.
Yeah.
Andy, I believe that it was yourself that posted a little picture of 54321 chocolate biscuit on the retro page. I used to love those. They were fantastic.
I don't even remember eating one. It was just, I said, it was for some reason, halfway through serving a customer, in my head, I suddenly had 5, 4, out of nowhere, this theme tune popped into my head, and for all day it was just an earworm that I couldn't get out.
Oh, full of earworm. I can't hear the word Caribbean without singing Caribbean from the Skips advert. When Skips first come out, one of the flavours was Caribbean, and every time someone says Caribbean, I instantly say it.
Yeah,
Caribbean Skips.
Yeah.
So they moved away from the prawn cocktail flavour.
Oh, they've done loads over the years, but prawn cocktail's the only one to have.
Yeah.
And it's all the rest of jank.
The only crisps I like, mate.
Are they?
I don't do crisps, but I like Skips.
So, yeah, okay. We're going to go back 20 years. We're going to walk into a sweet shop and grab a packet of crisps. For me...
Golden Wonder sausage and tomatoes for me.
Oh, I remember those.
See, for me, it would be the Smith's crisps with the little blue sachet of salt.
Oh.
And I remember this when I was a kid. We had them, and there was.
You can still get them.
You know, you can still get them. They're not as good, mate, because I don't like crisps now as a kid thing. But on the packet, if you save so many tokens, you got a free mug. And do you remember the advert? We wanna be Smith's crisps, yeah. And they had the song. And the mug, when you picked it up, it had the light sensor and it would play the music, right? And I remember it drove my dad mental, this mug. He hated it. And it was in the cupboard. And about 10, 15 years ago, they had the kitchen redone. And at the back of the cupboard, he found this mug, picked it up, and it was still working. So that's amazing.
They don't make them like they used to.
Oh.
Mate, I've got to say, it's got to be pickled onion Monster Munch. But I don't think you can get anything more salt and vinegary than Smith Square crisps, can you?
Disco salt and vinegar are pretty powerful as well.
Can you still get those?
Yeah, of course you can.
You and joking. Do you sell those?
I do, mate. I don't know if you remember cartoonies as well. They were the little round, tiny biscuits, and they were filled with chocolate inside, and they had the print of different animals or different faces on the top of the dome of the biscuit. Yeah, I sell them as well. Yeah.
The chocolate bar, Curly Whirly. I think I that's a great chocolate bar, isn't it?
It is, mate.
Isn't it?
The only thing I find with these things nowadays, I don't know if it's because I've got bigger, but I know it's not completely this. Everything's got so much smaller.
It has.
They're officially have though, haven't they?
Yeah, I remember.
To reduce the calories.
Well, of course.
Me and my brother would have to carry it back together. You know, we'd have to take an end each from the shop down the end of the road, and now I can fit it in my top pocket.
The sort of the most common one everyone complains about is the size of the wagon wheel. The wagon wheel is a big round. Well, it was a very big round biscuit covered in chocolate and marshmallow, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I sell them too, mate.
Jammy wagon wheels are one of my little weaknesses. I don't really eat chocolate, but jammy wagon wheel, I can eat a whole packet of them.
Do you guys remember the Texan bar?
Yep, Texan, lovely that was. Yeah,
that was pretty.
Do you remember?
Oh, I'm sure for a limited time.
You used to get something called Ipsos, which were in a square box. They had like Lego around the edge, and you'd buy these different boxes, and you could slot them all together. They're like little tiny. Yeah, they were. And I remember the advert for that as well.
Did you have to get them with your ration book?
Yes, during the war. It was during the war, the Falklands.
Falklands War,
but it was during the war.
Well, during the time of the Falklands War, the sort of confectionery of choice for myself was Poppets.
Oh,
now that was a cinema confectionery, wasn't it? That was something when you went to the cinema.
Why? I've never understood this. Well, I'm going to give you something that is actually a rattle.
Yeah.
To eat in somewhere that's supposed to be quiet.
Is there any more left? Shaky.
Yeah, exactly. It's like popcorn. I love popcorn, but why? You sit there next to someone, you hear like that, you know, it's just ridiculous. Eat your popcorn before the film with the trailers, and then you put it down, and that's how popcorn should work, right?
I used to like the idea of we used to get an interval, didn't we, during a film?
Yeah.
Anything probably over,
so the
45
pianist could
minutes?
have a rest.
About 45 minutes in.
I remember the last time I saw one, I watched Out of Africa at the cinema, and there was a break in that. And I think that's just to make sure that people weren't asleep or dead, because it was dreadful.
But wasn't it a wonderful thing when everyone's sitting still in the cinema, and then this lady would walk down the middle of down the aisle with this huge box hung round her neck and full of little tubs of ice cream and lollies. She used to carry a mivvy.
Is that what you called it?
That was a little lolly, wasn't it? The mivvy lolly, was it called? Was it a lolly with ice cream in the inside? I remember those. And there was the Zoom lolly, which was about 4 or 5 flavours in a lolly, wasn't it? And the Fab.
Fab you can still get. I like Fab.
And the lemonade, was it a Sparkle, which was like a lemonade lolly?
Yeah, and the milk ones.
Yeah, Milkmaids.
You don't get better than a banana lolly, mate.
Oh, that was a goodie, wasn't it?
Yeah, I had one this
But you
summer.
see, that gave everybody a chance to not only have a break from the film when the interval lady used to come down into the cinema, but you could have your snack and finish it before the film continued, which does away with people eating stuff. Now, Jeremy has just shown something called a banana skid.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now,
Swizzles.
Wow.
Let me just
one now. Hang on, let me see.
hang on, look. Just to show you, I have over
Jeremy
here
is actually showing us his
A
confectionery
jar.
box. A jar.
and I've got snaps in there. I've got love hearts. I've got chews,
See, Adam,
I've
this
got
is why you're
Haribo's,
skinny and we're not.
drumsticks. Yeah,
Because literally in our house grass, we both have sweet tins.
That's just
Yeah.
ridiculous.
See, I've got these.
Refreshers.
I've got some of them. Yeah.
A drumstick. Yeah.
Right, I've got.
What now? Describe the flavour of a drumstick.
Refreshers.
Well,
Did
the
you
thing
get them
is,
from the pound shop? Did you buy the
no.
bag from the? Oh,
No.
see, I buy a bag from the pound shop of chewy sweet.
Original drumsticks were raspberry and was it vanilla, isn't it? I think milk, raspberry and milk. But
Now
this
they've been
one,
going for what?
They're
Maybe
apple now, aren't they?
how long have
Apple
they
is
been
bigger,
going
that's
for?
apple and
30
cherry
years? 30
Yeah.
years?
I actually have
At least.
Yeah,
both
at
of
least
them
those.
now.
Yeah.
Then we've got what else have we got?
The refresher bar.
I love a refresher bar.
There you go.
Now that's
Yeah.
another sweet. Who makes that, by the way? Who's
They're
that?
Swizzles.
Swizzles.
Yeah.
That's got to be what again? 35, 40 years old.
Double
That's
lollies.
Oh. Now what's that lolly?
Double lolly.
Yeah.
A chubba.
Double.
Double lolly.
Yeah.
Chubba
the,
chups.
the chalky ones. The chalky,
Yeah, chalky
ones.
lollies.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely love these.
That's
You used to
very
get them
70s.
with a plastic straw
Yes, you
that they
did,
were stuck
yeah.
to. And once as a kid, I used to drink my tea through the straw and through the lolly. See, Parma Violet are
Parma
disgusting.
Violets. Now,
I
for
love
those
those.
that have never tried those, now what is the
Try not
flavour of
to.
Parma Violet? What is that flavour? Is it
Violet?
Yeah.
The flower.
the flower?
Yeah, violet. Yeah.
What else
See,
do we
Freddie
have?
loved them. Freddie will eat all
What
them.
else do I have here?
Disgusting.
I have love hearts.
Love hearts.
Yeah,
Hang on.
hang on.
Hang on.
You've
Let's
got it.
open
Oh
one
yeah.
up here.
Let's have one.
They got smiley faces
Right.
and stuff now, haven't they?
No, these have got
the
words
proper
on
ones
these
have
ones,
got
I
the
think.
words. Yeah.
No, they've also got like emojis on them as well.
The
now.
first one that you pull
Well,
out
they need to go.
is
bugger
a
off
sentiment to us both. So, what does it say to me and
Hang on,
Jeremy?
I've got to find a good one. I can't be nice. That'd be silly. Oh,
Oh, go on then.
that's broken. Hang on, we have to do another one.
It's a
This
broken
is
sentiment.
for when we do our Patreon clip shows because I don't really good for family listening.
So it says to us both, say yes. Ah,
You don't have to say yes. It's your body. It's your rule.
that's right. Yes.
Okay. But what else do I have in here? I've got some Mauam. Gotta love a Mauam.
Oh yeah, I like them.
Yeah. Fruitella.
Yeah. Have you got fruit salads and blackjacks in there or not?
I haven't got fruit salads and blackjacks in it. Oh, but I do have a
Yeah, I've got
A
a few of them.
Mr. Chew.
Chew.
Mr.
Yeah, I've got a
Chew.
few of them.
Yeah, I think he's the dictator of North Korea, isn't he?
That's right. He is. Yeah, he's. Yeah.
And what else? We've got Fruitellas. Yeah, we said them, didn't we? That's about it, really, mate. I've got some M&Ms from M&M World. That was ridiculously overpriced for a packet of M&Ms I can buy for £1 out of the shop.
Well,
See,
isn't
I
that something
prefer
else,
peanut
isn't it?
M&Ms.
For those that like to go to the cinema and
Oh,
buy confectionery fizzes. Wow. The price of a packet of M&Ms in the UK is about, I think it's just under 5p, under £4, isn't it? Which
Well, it is, but as soon as this thing
What is
gets
that, nearly
signed for the EU,
like-
it's going to be about £10.50. So
it's about $5 for a packet of M&Ms. So what we usually do is just go to the local Asda or a supermarket and buy the same pack for £1.
and he's got more.
We've got more sweets. Are these retro sweets?
Are they Rainbowdrops?
Rainbowdrops.
Love
Wow.
these.
I got Alana a load of those for a
Smash a
birthday.
packet of them.
So,
Smash a packet.
can you guys remember what it was called? The little packet, and you just put some on your tongue. Is it space dust?
Yeah,
LSD.
space dust, yeah.
Space dust. That's popping candy.
Popping candy. You can get dairy milk with popping candy in it.
Yes.
You can, can't you? It's that
Yeah.
they did ones with the jelly beans and all that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now we've got to have a little debate.
Dairy
because-
milk. Ticking. Do you remember
amazing.
cranberry? It's an old school one. They bought it back recently. It's not as good, but it's got shortcake and raspberry and that in it. Raspberry pieces. It's fantastic.
Now, we're obviously biased because we're Brits here, but American chocolate, where does it rate?
They don't have chocolate.
It's just not right, is it?
No, it's brown sugar. That's what they have.
I've never had it. I've never been to America.
The thing is, I've always said this because I'm not a sweet person, believe it or not. I mean, those sweets aren't really mine. I like the occasional chew, like a taffy or a Mr. Chew's, banana skids, that sort of thing. Otherwise, I'm really not that bothered about most of them. But over here, we do chocolate. America does better sweets. Every time my parents go to Florida, I get them to bring me back a few sweets. I love Twizzlers. There's so many things. There's bottle caps and things like that they do so much better than over here.
Reese's Pieces, what do you think of those?
This is one of those things, like an Oreo. When I was a kid, I went to Florida when I was 8. I tried Oreos. I fell in love with them. And then, occasionally we'd see a shop somewhere that had a packet for like 10 quid because you couldn't get them in the UK, and we'd buy it and go, they're amazing. Now they're freely available. They don't really hold that same sentimental, enjoyment. And I have it with one of my favourite drink is Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper Zero, especially because I don't drink sugary drinks. And when I was in Vegas, when I got married, I found a Walgreens that was selling cherry Dr. Pepper. Now, my other favourite drink is cherry Pepsi Max because cherry is the fruit of all the gods. It's beautiful. It needs to go in everything, right? Yeah, exactly. See, even then, amazing. It's cherry. It's beautiful. And when I was in Vegas, there was somewhere doing cherry Dr. Pepper. Now, at this point, I was like, I'll have 8 of them because I need to try this. And I absolutely fell in love with this cherry Dr. Pepper. It was absolutely fantastic. And then when I come back to the UK, I looked around for it and I found it in one of those, those funky sweet shops that do American sweets, etc., etc. And I bought one and I took it home and put it in the fridge, made it nice ice cold, and I was like, yeah, this is good. And I enjoyed it because it was nostalgic. It took me back to then. And then I went to over in Lakeside. There's a Burger King, and in that Burger King they have one of those machines that does all the different flavors of drinks, and you can choose and you can make it all yourself. And I had cherry Dr. Pepper in there, and it started to become more and more freely available, and I can get it down in Bluewater near me. And there's even a corner shop round to me that has a few American drinks in there, and he has cherry Dr. Pepper. And I actually refrain from buying it constantly so that when I do, I enjoy it. Yeah, it's one of those because
it's a little treat.
It is a little treat because as well they don't do the diet one over here. It's full fat, and I don't really do that. I hate the sugar in the drinks, but put a bit of ice in it, and it's absolutely fantastic. But that's what I was saying. Going back to sort of the Oreo thing as well, it's just when these things become more apparent, more freely available, they lose their interest. And same as Reese's Pieces. Growing up, I saw it in ET, and I was like, man, I want to know what this is. I want some. And then you can get them everywhere, and they kind of lose their appeal, don't they? I mean, when was the last time you went into the shop and bought a Time Out bar? Because they're everywhere, and if you couldn't get it that often, you'd probably go, oh, that's really nice.
My first memory of Dr. Pepper was the Kids from Fame. Do you remember the TV show Kids from Fame? That must have been about 19... I would say probably 79...
80s, wasn't it?
Yeah, 79, 80, Kids from Fame. I'm not sure if the movie came first and then the TV show.
Yeah, the movie came first, yeah.
Well, the TV show was a massive hit, and then they took the actors, the actresses, the dancers, they took it on a tour, and they came to Britain, and I was desperate to go and see the Kids from Fame. So we went to the show, we got to our seats, and on the seat, which was the dumb thing in those days, you used to get a free program. And on the free program, it's a Kids from Fame, sponsored by Dr. Pepper. And on the seat was a can of Dr. Pepper, free. So that was the first time we ever tried it. And it was it's a very strange taste indeed. A bit like when you were a kid and you first went to your first, McDonald's, and there was something called root beer. And it took a while before I think most people even thought, well, that's not even
Jeremy
alcoholic.
likes
I've never even tried root beer.
Oh, okay, I'll let you off, but I bet you'd like it. You seem the sort of weirdo that would like root beer.
Oh, you probably would. I don't even think it's on the McDonald's menu anymore, is it, root beer?
No, not at all, mate.
What a very strange taste of that. The other one as well was the sort of the dandelion and burdock, or what was that called? The ginger beer. I mean, people don't.
I sell dandelion and burdock. Just so you know, I'm so old school where I work. But yeah, we do all of that stuff.
Ginger beer is horrible as well.
It can be a bit too gingery, can't it? That's for
sure.
Mean,
for a fatty, I'm sitting here like, advocating that you shouldn't drink sugary drinks. But there's this one. I can't remember what the name brand is of the. Do you know the ginger beer people that do the cans of it? Old fashioned or something like that it is, but it's the worst sugary drink in the UK. And a can of the fiery ginger beer, I think it has something like 32 teaspoons of sugar in a can.
But do you remember though? I mean, when you were a kid, there was the classic can of Pepsi. I don't think it even had very much print. It was mostly the aluminium, and then there was just the Pepsi
versus
symbol.
Coke. What side are you?
Yeah, people literally walking down the street on the adverts, weren't they, doing the taste test.
Right. Now I can tell you a bit about this taste test if you want. Because what are you two? What's your preference?
I'm Coke.
See, I'm Pepsi. Me. What's you, Adam?
They
do a vegan one, do they?
I was going to say I hadn't drunk any Coca-Cola for probably nearly 20 years until I would say beginning of this year when I really did fancy in the summer a can of Coke, and it was delish.
I bet you were bouncing off the walls.
It was. I liked the kick in the back of the throat of it, but you know what? The sugar
this
content
is where it comes down to.
Yeah.
Now, when they do the taste tests, I think I believe it's Pepsi is the one that always wins, because Pepsi. Like, the which one do you prefer taste test? Pepsi always wins because it has this ingredient in it. I can't remember what it is. It's something like saccharin or something that basically it gives you an instant hit of flavour.
Right.
Whereas Coke doesn't have that ingredient. They have something else which actually gives a constant hit of flavour, if that makes any sense. So when you're drinking Coke, it constantly tastes the same. And you know what it's like. If you leave your Coke on the side for a little while and you drink it, it tastes like Coke. Whereas Pepsi, after a while, will start to lose its taste, and it's to do with this key ingredient they use. And Pepsi wanted that taste test because they knew they would win that, because it had this special ingredient that straight away people go, "Oh, that's sweet, that's nice, that's enjoyable." And that's just all marketing, really. And I mean, realistically, they are two different drinks. They taste completely different. I can spot a mile off when I taste the two of them. I just prefer Pepsi Max. Especially Pepsi Max Cherry.
Pepsi Max, I got into Pepsi Max when I last dieted for a bodybuilding show, because I was allowed one fizzy drink a day and obviously no sugar. And I had Pepsi Max and it was lovely.
Yeah.
I'd rather have Pepsi Max than normal Pepsi, but I'd have full fat Coke over any of them. I'd have Lucasade over all of them.
But the thing is that when we used to have real lemonade, proper real lemonade back as a kid. Yeah, that was fantastic. But there's one drink that I wanted to sort of talk about. Do you know the origins of the drink Fanta?
The origins of it?
The orange drink, yeah.
The oranges.
Fanta, the brand, the fruit-flavoured carbonated drink, is now owned by Coca-Cola Company and obviously marketed globally. But there are some very interesting facts about the Fanta drink, which originated as a cola substitute in Nazi Germany under the World War II trade embargo for Coca-Cola in the ingredients in 1940. And it was established, this trade embargo was against the Nazi Germany, making the import of Coca-Cola syrup difficult. To circumvent this, the head of Coca-Cola, Deutschland, decided to create a new product for the German market using only ingredients available in Germany at the time, including whey and apple. And the result was this sort of brainstorming session which created Fanta. So its origins is quite incredible. And you know,
and you said this was a wartime thing.
Yeah, very much so.
It's weird, isn't it? Because that's where an Americano comes from, with coffee. I don't know if you know what it was American soldiers were in France and they would get a coffee in the, wherever they were, but it was too strong. I don't know if you've ever tried European coffee, especially in France. It's mind-blowingly strong. It's absolutely beautiful. It's essentially 3/4 of a cup of espresso with a splash of milk. But American soldiers would go into these places and it'd be too strong and they'd ask for it to be watered down, hence Americano. So...
Well, the 75th anniversary edition of the Fanta bottle in February 2015, they decided to release this Fanta bottle. It was packaged in a glass bottle, and it evoked the original design with the authentic original wartime flavour, including 30% whey and pomace. It was described on the packaging as less sweet and a German original. An Associated Television and reference history of the drink and said to the Coca-Cola company that they wanted to bring back the feeling of the good old times, which interpreted to many as meaning Nazi rule.
As the Holocaust.
The ad was subsequently replaced, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. Mate, I love chatting about old retro sweets and drinks, and it does. You can almost, when you were showing those boxes of sweets, then I could almost taste the refresher in my mouth and the drumstick, and there was some cracking stuff back then, wasn't it? And then we didn't have the sort of suppression of that's not good for you anymore, did we? Back then, it was all a case of just get as many sweets as you can with your pocket money. And a lot of those sweets really used to last quite a long time.
Yeah.
Not in my house.
Not in your house.
Well, when I was at school, in junior school, it's going to be some 70s parenting going on here. But me and my sister were given 20p each for school dinner, and we could afford 2 packets of crisps and a Mars bar. And that's what I grew up on, which is why I was a stunted, tiny child.
Me and you, totally different cloth, mate. I used to get £2.50 for my lunch. I'd buy 10 Red Band, a lighter, and a can of drink. And maybe I'd have enough to buy something on the way home. But, yeah.
Well, we've got another little trailer that we're going to drop, which is for The Lion King.
Everything the light touches is our kingdom. But a king's time as ruler rises and falls like the sun. One day, the sun will set on my time here and will rise with you as the new king.
So, guys, The Lion King, new trailer has dropped and cast announced, and it is a fantastic cast. Have you guys checked out and seen who's playing whom in this new live-action version of the animated film?
Mate, I am so down with this movie. It's ridiculous.
So, we've got Donald Glover. We've got the wonderful James Earl Jones. Who else do we have on this?
We have Chiwetel Ejiofor. I know you were waiting for me to pronounce that one and not you. We have John Oliver as well as Zazu, which I am Yeah, that's a brilliant choice. That is John Oliver as Zazu. If you're going to choose anyone that's not Rowan Atkinson, it has to be him. Seth Rogen as Pumbaa. Keegan-Michael Key as Kamari. Chiwetel Ejiofor is playing Scar. Billy Itchner is Timon. Now, I don't know if you've ever seen Parks and Rec.
No.
No, he's in that. He's really funny in that, and I think him and Seth Rogen as Timon and Pumbaa are going to nail it. They'll be really good. We have Beyonce as Nala. Eric Andre as Azizi. He's a good comedy actor as well. And yeah, I mean that's a strong cast straight off the bat there, mate. This is Jon Favreau as well, who did The Jungle Book. So I'm all in for this. My only reservation I have with this is that when I saw The Jungle Book, it looked stunning. I don't know if you two have seen the adaptation.
Yeah.
Looked stunning. The music was out of place in my eyes. They didn't go all in on it. They used musical scores a couple of times in that movie, and when they did, it didn't really flow for me. If they'd have made it an all-out musical, I'd have been more in. But Bill Murray singing Bare Necessities was okay, but Christopher Walken singing King of the Swingers didn't really work for me. It didn't, he's a good singer, but it just didn't fit the tone of the movie. Now I'm hoping with this they keep really true, because to me, Lion King, a big part of it is the music, because it is so powerful. I saw the stage show of The Lion King a few years back, and they do it in that as well. And the music is obviously integral to telling that story. But I'm, above all, my only reservation is, and I've seen a lot of other people agree with me, I am not ready to watch Mufasa die again in HD.
Spoilers.
I can't deal with that. Like, it's ridiculous.
Well, the original film had an incredible cast as well, didn't it? Rowan Atkinson, Matthew Broderick, Whoopi Goldberg, Jeremy Irons, James L. Jones, Moira Kelly, Nathan Lane. Yeah. You had Cheech Marin as well. Yeah.
It is my favourite Disney movie by far, and I saw them when I was a kid. I actually saw them drawing this in Florida in the studios. I saw them drawing Lion King. Now I don't know if you know, when this was made, Disney essentially have an A team and a B team that work on projects. So the A team will be doing their next big thing, and the B team will be doing their straight to DVD, TV / things like that, or projects that are in the works that they're not 100% on. Pocahontas and The Lion King were being made at the same time. Right. Pocahontas by the A team and Lion King by the B team. And it was halfway through production, Disney suddenly went, hang on a minute here, what are we doing? This is clearly a better film. And when it got released, and both of them got released to the acclaim that they did, because Pocahontas didn't do great numbers, those two teams, I mean, unfortunate for some and great for some others, actually switched places because The Lion King did so well. And rightly so, because it is by far the best Disney movie there is in my eyes.
1994.
Yep.
That came out, which is quite.
Yeah, so I was in Disney in '92. So yeah, I saw him drawing. I remember vividly seeing him drawing a picture of Simba in the jungle, which when he meets Timon and Pumbaa, which was really cool. Seeing that.
Well, the Lion King trailer, which dropped this week, has now the record for most views in 24 hours. It accumulated 224.6 million views globally in the first 24 hours, which has become Disney's most watched trailer in a day.
Madness, isn't it?
Isn't that incredible? Behind that was Avengers Infinity War, which tallied 238 million views. That is quite astonishing. Obviously, Disney released this trailer on Thursday of this week as part of their Thanksgiving football festivities, and replicating the opening scene of the beloved 1994 animated film. Wonderful stuff. We look forward to seeing that.
What's the face for, Jeremy?
It's all right, The Lion King. I've seen it once, but it came out in '94. I was 23. It wasn't aimed at me. You were still a whippersnapper, weren't you?
I was,
back
mate.
then.
I was 11.
Yeah, so it would have been perfect for you. But yeah. I think that I don't know. I've watched it once and it was fine, but I think I've missed out on a lot of Disney where I just haven't invested enough. I need to go. You have kids, and we watched Jason versus Freddy the other day, so you know, parenting gone wrong there maybe, but
The movie you reviewed last week, Fantastic Beasts: The Crimes of Grindelwald, had another magical weekend at the foreign box office, generating 83.7 million for an international haul of 322.6 million so far. The spin-off sequel has now grossed 439.7 million globally, so it's not doing bad at all, is it? That's pretty high figures. And obviously,
I think
these are
that
all...
it's got a built-in market, isn't it? You know, we're going to go and watch it because we're going to hope it's redeeming itself from the first one, and
Yes.
we like Harry Potter movies. We're going to go and watch it, but I think it's a captive audience. I don't think it's going to bring in anyone new particularly.
Venom has now topped over 800 million globally, so it's it's likely
Wonder
now.
Woman, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks likely that we're going to get obviously this follow-up film, and that's great stuff. I mean, there was not a lot of great reviews of this film when it came out by a lot of YouTube reviewers, etc. But it's done very, very well indeed. I think that pretty much rounds up this week's podcast. Nice long one, lots of confectionery talk, and
after an impromptu power cut that hopefully nobody notices, a lot of editing by me.
Indeed. Thank you very much for listening, guys, and thanks very much for making this podcast highly enjoyable. Do join us, everybody, on the Facebook group page. We'd love your interaction there. Jeremy, where can people find you on social media?
Lurking in the dark corners.
No, I'm fairly prolific on Twitter, retweeting everything that we put out. Follow us on Twitter if you can. Just Jeremy at Retro Inc. Podcast on Twitter. I am on Facebook, but I'll probably ignore you. So, unless you join the Retro Inc. page, where I will put some trailers and adverts of things that people don't remember and don't want to watch. But
Thank you very much for listening. I do have a little...
what about Andy? Where can we find Andy?
Well, Andy, we find him in all those dark places as well. Andy, you are on Insta, aren't you?
I'm more prolific on Instagram. Yeah, Retro Inc. Podcast over there. If you go over there, you'll see I put more stuff on there than I probably do. I like to go onto Facebook sometimes and just be horrible to Jeremy for being a nerd. And yeah, I mean, I'm where Retro Inc. is. That's where I am. And you can find us everywhere. If you go to our webpage, which I updated today as well, because I noticed the new introduction to Jeremy was sitting on every page, and I'm not having him taking up that much room. So that's now on just about us. Yeah, you're not there now, mate. But I'm having a bit of a little redesign of that at the moment. Nothing major, just updating it a bit. And
look at the T-shirts on there; they're fun.
Yeah, go to our merchandise page and you can get the links to that. Hopefully there's going to be some stuff on the eBay store soon. Depends what I get for Christmas that I don't like. And
yeah, we do actually have some fantastic designs at the TeePublic store. It's Retro Inc. TeePublic store. We have some really cool retro and nerd T-shirts there available at some great prices. Do go and check that out. You've been listening to the Retro Inc. podcast, a member of the Star Wars Commonwealth podcast network. Check out more from the Commonwealth at starwarscommonwealth.com. Take your first steps into a larger world. And check out some of the other podcasts on the network. Talk Star Wars, Tumbling Saber, The Nerd Room, Generation X-Wing, Rogue Squadron, San Diego Sabres Radio Podcast, Skyhoppers Podcast, Tatooine Suns Podcast, Less Than 12 Parsecs, and of course, the Retro Inc. podcast. Thank you much for listening, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, Jeremy.
Bye.
And cheers, Andy.
Thanks, mate. That was really well done as well. That was like you'd written that down and rehearsed it. Almost to the same levels of the Nerd Room with Tim. That was beautiful. Well done.
Bye for now.
Be seeing you.